In the interior of Rajasthan, about 30 kilometers from the capital, lies a small typical village called Bagru. What makes it unique is its love affair with the art of hand block printing and natural vegetable dyeing since centuries. The tale unfolds more than 400 years ago, when the Thakur or the liege of this village decided to make Bagru a center for block printing and brought the printers here from the nearby areas. The printers, locally known as chippas, came for the royal patronage, but it was the presence of abundant water in the overflowing Sanjariya river and its clean, sunny river beds that became their main reason for settling. Today, the river runs dry, but the chippas continue to thrive in Bagru, practicing their craft in the same methods of the past, ensuring the survival of traditions. Simple as it looks, the process of printing and working with natural elements involves a complex series of steps. Preparing the raw cloth, making the dyes and colors, the steps involved in the different types of printing, developing intricate dyeing techniques, all point towards a labor-intensive craft, a skill that has been passed down generations and experience. Like starch, oil and dust that needs to be removed to get a good and even penetration of color. For 2 days, the chippas make a paste out of cow dung, soda ash and sesame oil and wash the cloth in it. This step is called scouring or harisarana.
ये करते हैं पान निकल जाती है, पूरी सफेदी अच्छी आती है, कपड़े को एकदम फोड़ने हो जाता है, ये मतलब एकदम साफ हो जाता है.
The cloth is then washed, dried and is ready for the harda treatment. Harda is a seed that is powdered and is considered the backbone of the printing and dyeing technique. After is mixed with water and the scoured fabrics are given a thorough wash in it, which gives the cloth a yellow shade. Harda has natural tannic acid in it that acts as a mordant for the iron in the printing color, and that results in the formation of the characteristic Bagru black. The fabrics are squeezed dry and laid out in the sun. The presence of water and sun is critical to this industry. Almost every stage requires the cloth being washed in water and sun-dried. Water is also known to characterize the color of a place, and the same used water is recycled into the ground for the plants. In the absence of the river, the people tap the underground reservoirs. It is no wonder that before any well is dug or pump is installed, the Chippa community install their gods, Bhairo and Balaji, in the ground to seek blessing and a continuous supply of water. Bagru is known for its mastery over a special printing technique known as resist printing or dabu. Its essence lies in printing with a specially prepared dabu paste and then dyeing the fabrics. This results in creating prints in which portions are hidden from the dye. Like everything else in this village, the art of making dabu paste has also been handed down generations. Each family has its own secret of making the dabu paste, which is passed on to the daughter-in-laws. But in general, dabu is made by mixing lime dissolved in water, natural gum, beedhan or the flour of wheat spoilt by worms, and locally available black clay. They are all meshed well into a thick paste and left overnight. It is then strained into a liquid paste which is used for printing. The cloth is stretched onto the tables and the blocks are selected. In an effortless rhythmic move, the printer moves his block in and out of the paste, and the plain cloth transforms into a finely worked fabric. There are 3 kinds of dabu, depending on the final result and the color required. Kaligar dabu, that can take a processing only once. Dolidar dabu, which has a little more of gum and hence better adhesive strength, and can withstand about 2 trips to the dye vats. And Gawar Bali dabu, which has oil and gawar seed powder added to the paste, which gives the cloth the strength to go through many dyeing. As the dabu design gets completed, sawdust is sprinkled over the cloth before the paste dries completely.
ये लकड़ी का बुरादा दाबू के ऊपर इसलिए डालते हैं ताकि ये एक दूसरे से चिपके नहीं उठाते वक्त, और ये दाबू है ना, इसको इससे सपोर्ट मिलता है। पानी में भीगने के बाद इससे पानी अंदर पास नहीं होता है।
The dyeing process varies depending on the color required. A shade of green that comes from 2 methods. In the first case, the cloth is sent to the indigo vats, dipped, taken out and dried in the sun.
ये जो तरीका है इंडिगो डाई करने का और हरा करने का, ये हमारा पुराना ही तरीका है।
It is then rinsed in a solution of pomegranate peel and water, which is always boiled and cooled a day before. It is washed again and then rinsed a final time in a mix of alum and water to fix the color and to also remove the dabu paste. As the cloth dries, the Bagru green color surfaces. The other traditional method is known as Pithoi, in which a paste of pomegranate peel, turmeric and sesame oil is made. Then, with a piece of woolen cloth, it is applied generously over the dabu printed cloth while 4 other people hold it tautly. The fabric is then dried, dipped in a solution of alum and water. Alum dissolved in water results in a clear solution that is then strained through a cloth filter. The quantity of alum varies according to the strength of the dabu paste, and without this treatment, the prints become blurred and shabby. It is these kind of traditional methods that give Bagru its distinctiveness. As a village, it is typical and is loosely divided into mohallas or sections named after the work done by the people who live there. Regar Mohalla for the shoemakers. Lakero ka Mohalla belongs to the lark experts. And then there is the Chippa or the printers Mohalla. Walk along the narrow lanes of the village and there are traces everywhere of the thriving printing community. The Chippa Mohalla shows many examples of colorful facades, bright motifs on the walls, and vivid patterns that speak of the Chippa's inherent love for design and color. With about 350 families and close to 8,000 people involved in keeping this craft alive, Bagru does have a unique reputation. There are families that work together and run small units in their homes. There are units where work is still divided between men and women from printing to dyeing. And then there are even more ancient homes where old men and women still sit on the floor and work in traditional style on small tables called pathiya.
पहले तो हम ईपर पाटे पर करते और अब तो है जो बड़ी बड़ी मेजा चल गई तो इस पर छपते हैं तो कम छपते हैं 1-2 ही गिराक छपता है कोई नहीं छपता है.
Bagru block printing is famous for the use of 2 main colors as outlines. A red called Begar and a black known as Syahi. Prepared indigenously, they are perfect. India has been renowned for its printed cotton cloth since the 12th century. It is about a skill that comes with experience and ancient knowledge about creating a rhythm with blocks. When the block is applied to the fabric, it is slammed hard with the fist on the back of the handle so that a firm impression registers. A point on the block serves as a guide for the repeat impression. The whole effect is continuous. This is quite a rhythmic technique, learnt through experience, for on this depends the uniformity of the depth of color of the printed motif. But much before a print is born, there is the block. Traditionally, blocks were made from seasoned gurjan and teak. Today, most often it is sisham and the wood of the roida tree. The underside of the block has the design carved on it, that is painstakingly chiseled. Each block has a wooden handle and 2 to 3 cylindrical holes drilled into it for free air passage and to allow release of excess printing paste. Before new blocks are used for printing, they are kept in oil for about 10 days, which softens the grains. Families here preserve their old blocks, handing them from one generation to the other, and twice a year, on specific religious days, all the old blocks are taken out and worshipped by the Chippa community. A study of block printed fabrics gives a fascinating peek into the traditional role textiles used to play in the lives of the people here. There was a time when Bagru prints and colors had a deep meaning and specific uses pertaining to community, hierarchy, sex, caste and status.
अलग अलग समाज में अलग अलग तरह की और भी छपाई होती बिने गुजर और जाट समाज में पहले था और उच्च श्रेणी का आदमी था वो बिल्कुल सफेद बने था.
Different communities could be differentiated by the colors they wore or the motifs on their costumes. The Chippas then were producing local varieties of printed fabrics, mostly farats, lugdis, bichonis, razais, etc.
आ तो भाई बामण जाति में पहरे था. आ खुमारा में जाटा में आमा पहरे था. ब्याह सावे आर कार में तो आ पहरे था. और फिर रोजिना घास खोती या पानत करती या और काम करती तो मोटी फड़द को पहरे थी.
Even the prints and motifs had a significance and story. Most of them were derived from flora and fauna and even had names that showcased that, like Hara Dhania, Bel, Kale, Hajura, and others. There were even specific patterns for ceremonial fabrics that would be used in religious occasions and community gatherings. This cloth, known as a jasam, was so important to the Chippas that it was used in temples and also as an official spread to sit on and pass judgments in disputes by the elders. And to be asked to get off a jasam was akin to being excommunicated. While the rules have changed and the people have adapted to the modern life in terms of their clothes and other related customs, Bagru's love affair with motifs and colors still continues, and each color tells its own story. the foundation of the Chippa's technique is still deep-rooted in the past. And Bagru is one of the few places left where one still sees colors and dyes derived from natural elements. Red or madder from al tree, black color from fermented iron and harda seed, the blue from the indigo plant, yellow from dried pomegranate rind and turmeric and dried flowers of the Havaria tree to make the colors fast are but some examples. The dyer manages the cloth as it makes its way through the different steps. A good dyer never measures the quantity. They just know how much to put and when to put. Dyeing involves the right use of colors and ingredients, the correct temperatures, the precise eye for details, and innumerable steps that are again determined only by the skill and experience of the dyer. The cloth printed with the syahi and Bagru colors enter the vats. The water begins to simmer and the cloth keeps catching the color. The Havaria, a dried flower, is boiled along with alizarin to avoid patchiness and staining. The temperature is the fabrics are removed, washed in water again and dried. Indigo dyeing too makes for an interesting study. It is a challenging dye to use because of its insoluble nature in water. To be dissolved, it must undergo a chemical change. And so, natural indigo is boiled with pawar seeds and kept overnight. The next day, this solution along with lime is dissolved in the vats that are almost 15 feet deep and left untouched for a day. Dyeing starts only after that. More dippings into the vat brings a deeper blue color and one can dip a maximum of 6 times. The cloth is then dipped in alum and water solution to fix the color. In the early days, traditions used to bind the division of work here. The community was divided into 3 groups: the washermen or dhobis, rangres or dyers, and chippas or printers, with each group performing their specific roles. This division does not really exist today, except for the washing that is still done mainly by the dhobi community. But the printing and dyeing work is an organized teamwork, involving entire families who work together to produce the printed cloth. India has always been sensitive to colors, which has formed the basis of artistic inspiration, of music, and the subtle nuances of mood. Red for love. Yellow is the color of spring, filled with blossoms and the cry of mating birds. Neela or indigo for Krishna, the playful god. Gerva or saffron reminds one of a yogi, the sage. And green was nature. In India, every craft has sprung up with the influence of religious traditions. This is visible among the chippas too. A deeply religious community, they derive a lot of their beliefs from tradition and faith. They are followers of the poet saint Namdev, who is looked upon as the patron saint of the chippa community. Years have gone by. Many things have changed. Modern age has caught up with the chippas, where before they were meeting only local demands by taking their products to the local hut or bazaar. Today, they not only have a national interest but are also sending their fabrics across the globe. The usage has changed, and many of the old designs and motifs have given way to newer patterns. But the chippas of Bagru are still living by their traditional methods. For till the time there is water in this piece of earth, the printing community of Bagru will continue their rhythm of the blocks.